Have you ever stopped to think about what your online life, every search, every purchase, actually says about you? Well, it turns out that all that data paints a psychological portrait of who you are that is so detailed, it's honestly kind of mind-blowing. Ready to see how it all works? Let's get into it. So, Sandra Matz, the author we're drawing from today, tells this story about growing up in a tiny German village. When she was 15, she crashed her boyfriend's motorcycle. No one saw it happen, but the moment she walked into the local repair shop, that was it. The news spread like an absolute wildfire. The entire village knew her secret. And you know what? That nosy, small-town gossip network, it's the perfect way to think about our lives today. You see, we've all basically moved into a global digital village. Only our new neighbors aren't people. Nope, they're algorithms. And this really shows the massive trade-off we've made. Back in the old village, sure, you had human gossip and judgment, but you also had real community support. Now, in the digital village, that's all been swapped out for algorithmic data collection and manipulation, but also, hyper-personalization. We've basically escaped the prying eyes of our neighbors for something way, way more powerful. So that brings us to the central mystery here. How on earth can a machine, just a bunch of code, possibly understand the really deep nuances of human personality so well? I mean, let me just ask you that directly. Do you really think a computer could know you better than your family, your best friend, or even your partner? It just sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, the science says, yeah, it absolutely can. And this number right here, this just says it all. A wild study from Cambridge University found that an algorithm needs just 300 of your Facebook likes to judge your personality more accurately than your own spouse. Get this, with only 10 likes, it can beat a work colleague. It takes an unbelievably small amount of data to outperform our closest human relationships. So how in the world does it learn this stuff? Well, the process is actually a lot like a very strange but very real job called chick sexing. See, an expert can glance at a baby chick and instantly know its gender, but they can't explain how they know. They just know after seeing thousands and thousands of them. And a computer learns the exact same way. It gets an input, makes a guess, gets feedback. Yep, you're right. Nope, you're wrong. And it just repeats that millions of times until it just knows the patterns. Okay, so let's look at the first type of data these algorithms are gobbling up to build this picture of you. They're what psychologists call identity claims. Basically, these are the digital clues we share on purpose, things like our social media posts and the pages we choose to follow. All right, time for a little game. Have a look at these two lists of Facebook likes. One belongs to a pretty typical extrovert and the other to a typical introvert. Which one do you think is the extrovert, list A or list B? If you said list A, you got it. And it makes a ton of sense, right? Beer pong, dancing, socializing, these are all classic extroverted activities. List B, on the other hand, with its role-playing games, programming, and anime, definitely points more toward introversion. The algorithm learns these same kinds of intuitive connections we do. Okay, let's try one more. This one's a little trickier, though. Which of these lists points to someone with higher cognitive ability or, intelligence? I mean, most of list A kind of tracks. Mozart, science, the Colbert Report, sure. But then you see that last one, curly fries. What in the world is that doing in there? And here's the really crucial point to get. Liking curly fries does not make you intelligent. But for whatever reason, in the vast ocean of data, there is a strong correlation. And the algorithm, it doesn't care one bit why there's a connection. It only cares that the connection helps it predict things. It just knows that for some bizarre reason, it works. Okay, now let's talk about the second type of data, which is arguably way more powerful. This is what's called behavioral residue. Think of it as the unintentional digital breadcrumbs we're constantly leaving behind, without even thinking about it. This is the stuff we don't even realize we're sharing. Just think about your Google searches for a second. We type questions into that little box that we might never, ever ask another human being. It basically becomes this super private diary of our fears, our hopes, our biggest insecurities. Free from the judgment of other people, we create this permanent, detailed record of our inner lives. And that record is pure gold for anyone trying to figure out what makes us tick. And it's the same thing with how we spend our money. Just look at these two sets of spending habits. Who do you think is more conscientious, organized, disciplined? Is it spender A, who's focused on savings and mortgage payments? Or spender B, with more impulsive buys like takeout and snacks? Yeah, it's pretty clearly spender A. Our bank statements tell a surprisingly vivid story about who we are. And then, of course, there's your phone. It's like having a whole army of master snoops in your pocket that never ever sleep. Even when it's just sitting there, its sensors are constantly collecting data. Where you go, how active you are, who you're physically near, even your call and text patterns. And you want to hear a fantastic example of what that data can reveal? One of the single best predictors of the personality trait of conscientiousness from all that smartphone data is your battery level. No, I'm not kidding. Research actually shows that highly conscientious, organized people are far, far less likely to ever let their phone battery die. It's this tiny, seemingly meaningless detail that reveals a core part of who someone is. So, what happens when you start putting all of these different pieces together? You take the deliberate things we share and you combine them with all those unintentional digital breadcrumbs. Well, you should really think of it like a giant puzzle. A single Facebook like or one weird Google search doesn't mean a whole lot on its own. It's just one piece. But when an algorithm connects thousands or millions of these little data points, a startlingly clear and frankly scarily accurate picture of your psychology starts to take shape. And this right here, this gets to the very heart of this technology. It's a total double-edged sword. At its absolute worst, it can be used to manipulate us, to exploit our hidden vulnerabilities, and even to discriminate against us. But at its best, it could engage, educate, and empower us, like by spotting early signs of depression or helping us build better financial habits. So as we wrap this up, here is the thought I really want to leave you with. Every like, every click, every single search, it's another word in the story of you. And that story is being written live, every single second. The really crucial question we all have to start asking ourselves is this: who do we want reading it?